And there have been some interesting things coming out of the Bayern Munich camp. Thomas Tuchel apparently not too happy with the squad that he's got. Speaking after the 2-1 win over Borussia Mönchengladbach, the coach said the squad is a bit thin, a bit small. So let's remind you of the ins and outs at Bayern this summer. Obviously, the big names coming in, Harry Kane and Kim Min-jae, really good defender, brilliant goal scorer. Let's welcome in Frank Leboeuf and Aage Fjortoft to talk more about this. And Jan, I need to start with you because apparently these comments haven't gone down too well with the hierarchy at Bayern.
No, and I guess we have to remind people that FC Bayern is called FC Hollywood. And this is a soap opera, like always. Now, Tuchel and Bayern wanted a number 9. They got that. Tuchel then wanted a number 6. Palinja, they nearly got him on Friday, but he had to go home after done 2 medicals and all the photo sessions. And not only did Tuchel said that this weekend, but he also said we have a gutsy squad composition. That what they put together there, he is very critical to that. But I must say that this transfer committee at Bayern, the Magic 7, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, Uli Hoeneß back in the business, haven't been out for it for a while, coming back there, and kind of, I don't say they're provocating him, but when the CEO Dresden says this week in a TV show, he said, well, Tuchel just have to be creative then with his squad. He says that I don't have a number 6. Joshua Kimmich says, I am a number 6. Then we have it going. But I think that the transfer window ended bad with the Palinja thing. But when you get the best defender, I will say with Kim, one of the best defender in Europe, you get the England team captain, number 9. It's not that bad, is it? I mean, please, Mr. Tuchel, sometimes you have to see, you nearly got everything you wished for.
Nearly. Obviously, it's not that bad with those big names, but can you call it a thin squad?
It's like coming down on Christmas morning and you didn't quite get all your presents. What are you going to do? Cry to your parents about it? Or look, or do what I do? I was always happy. You know, you got to look happy and delighted with what you got. Come on, I looked at the bench there. What he had at the weekend, it wasn't bad. Nothing's ever perfect for a manager, but Jan just rolled it all out there. They got the best defender who was voted best defender in Italy, and that takes some doing, as we know. And arguably one of the top 3 strikers in elite European football. And by the way, a transfer record for Bayern Munich, I believe. So they really pushed the boat out to get. You know, he could easily have been sat here now, moaning and groaning without a Harry Kane, and Harry Kane could have been Daniel Levied and still at Tottenham, and he could have been left high and dry, although he's got Choupo-Moting, who did a good job last year. So, yeah, it's not perfect, but guess what it is for Thomas Tuchel? It's get on with it time. It is get on with it time. I've said this long and hard. He came in last year to some fanfare off the back of Nagelsmann. He was going to beat Man City, not him, this is not his words, but Tuchel coming in, it was going to answer the questions about how they're going to play against Man City. It was going to steamroller Dortmund and they were going to be flying and the Bundesliga was going to be a canter. None of those happened. They did not play well. They absolutely fell over the line when Dortmund fell at the last hurdle. They've gone out, they've strengthened the back, they've strengthened the forward line. Now it's down to him to do the job. Simple as that.
The honorary president, Uli Hoeneß, has actually played things down a little bit. Let's hear what he had to say. This is what he said with regards to it. He said, that's just a ploy to divide us. That's obviously the outside talk of this. You can have different opinions. It's always been the case before. That doesn't mean we'd stop talking to each other or appreciating each other. So obviously they're talking about it being a ploy to divide us. But, Frank, we've seen signs of Tuchel at Chelsea with disagreements over transfers with the boards.
Yeah, and that's a problem for me because, I mean, I still highly rank Thomas Tuchel as a coach, but I think, and somebody said that before, you know, you are a good coach when you know how to be creative with the players you have at your disposals. And I think the amount of players that he had and the squad that he had in hands should be enough to be happy and to be creative enough to do something great this season. And complaining publicly doesn't help. And he likes to do that. He likes to put the pressure out of himself, which is, I don't think is the right positioning. He should take all the pressure, say, okay, thank you, the club, for Kim, thank you for Kane. You know, now I've got a big squad. I mean, he has Goretzka and Kimmich in the middle of the park, which are, I think, one of the two best midfielders in the world. So how do you want to complain about that? The squad is big, the squad is competitive, so just do your job. You know, the world is not perfect. As Craig said, it's not every day Christmas. So just do your work, be creative, try to make something work, and it's going to be better. And stop talking publicly. Just do your job.
He doesn't see them as number sixes, though, Jan.
No, he doesn't. So what he's saying is that when he doesn't have that number six, that holding midfielder that he wanted, Palhinha, he was very close to that. He nearly got all he wished for Christmas, if we were going to use that metaphor tonight. And he got that. But what he's saying is that because he doesn't have the number six, he has to play with Goretzka and Kimmich together, which take away one place for an offensive player. Then he has to leave Musiala out, or Müller out, or Gnabry, or Koeman, and so on and so on. But the thing is with Bayern as well, they also have Konrad Laimer. Remember when they signed him for a free from RB Leipzig, they said he was the gegenpressing machine. So this is the guy who should win everything. So Uli Hoeneß then, he has the courage, and he always have the courage to say, I thought Konrad Laimer could play as a number six. And then Tuchel said, yeah, but what about the right back? Oh, I thought Konrad Laimer could play right back as well. So this is what he's doing all the time at Bayern. But Uli Hoeneß is, of course, right. This is Bayern. This is what Bayern do. This is a part of their DNA. They are fighting. And Thomas Tuchel, after Kahn was fired, after Salihamidzic was fired, his position, his strength or power at Bayern went up. So he's trying to take advantage of that. And now the old guard say, listen, you're the coach. Try to sort out with the squad you're having, or be creative, as the CEO, as I said to him.
So we tell you what, it's been one weird summer. Here, as we sat here now, for the last few days, we've piped on about the Saudi Arabian transfer window closing, and now we have the mighty Bayern Munich. It appears the pack of cards that is Bayern Munich may collapse because they didn't get a player from Fulham. I mean, what kind of planet are we on? As good a player as Paulinho is, I think he's a good player. But Bayern Munich are upset. They never got a player from Fulham, and it's all going to fold. I mean, come on. This is, you know, managers have moaned over the years. He wants to go back and manage 20 or 30 years ago, right? Then we'll give him something to moan about. I mean, he's lucky. He come off that Chelsea job, right? It was a big job. He wasn't brilliant, by the way, at Chelsea. Yes, they won the Champions League, but the rest of it wasn't, I don't think it was brilliant. Stumbles on the Bayern Munich job because some people didn't fancy Nagelsmann and didn't think this was the project that they were quite looking for in the end, and it wasn't going the way they wanted. And he walks into one of the best jobs on the planet. Oh, come on.
But you've said on the show that you think Harry Kane's going to be the one to bail them out this season anyway. How
far that will take them? I mean, I think it will take them to another Bundesliga. That's I think, would be hard to argue that. But you know, the big question then is on the European front. How much will that make up for any deficiencies that Bayern Munich may have going forward? That's the big question. Well, talking about the European front, Frank, they are second favourites. Are they the second best team in Europe for you?
I would say so. I would say so. I think with the signing of Kim and Kane, they got better. It's what they were lacking in terms of players and quality last season, for sure. I still see Manchester City better than anybody else. But after, you know, with the injuries that Real Madrid went through with some crucial players, I don't see any other teams in the list that you were showing that can be competing with Bayern Munich and, of course, Manchester City. Say, oh, yeah, let's say, so far the runner-up in that list, and it's only fair.
Do you agree, Jan?
Well, you could say Real Madrid or FC Bellingham could be up there. But the interesting thing is when it comes to who will win the Champions League, then we talk in March, April next year, which team will be best there. We always think that the best teams that will go through the group stage. Then you got another transfer window. Maybe Tuchel has got this Fulham player that he is so loved to get. So, yeah, I think it would be good. But I think that young Musiala is very decisive for them because they need that little extra. Gnabry, Coman, Leroy Sané playing very well at the moment. So they have so many options. But I think you need that edge. But listen, Harry Kane is coming to a club that went out of Villarreal and Manchester City last season. That is not good enough for Bayern. The standard for Bayern to win the cup, to win the league, that is milk and bread. And they did just got bread sent from Dortmund last season, and milk they had no chance to do, and out of the Champions League. So they need to do better this season. But let's see how we develop. To say the favourites now is based on a transfer window, and Tuchel wasn't very happy with that. So, but the best defender and the best attack, I guess you got a good basic for a great season of Bayern.
Second favourites for you?
Yeah, they're thereabouts. I mean, it's a cranky list, isn't it? Man United are on it. And anybody who's watched Man United this season so far, they wouldn't get anywhere near the top 15. As Jan said, we really don't know how it will all roll out after Christmas. It's a hell of a long time away. Man City are not going anywhere. That's unless something pops up for them. And you know, Barcelona, we cover La Liga. Neither of those two sides, the two big boys, have been great. And Jan mentioned Bellingham. He's been absolutely outstanding. The rest, not so much. And Barca, there's some early season problems there. You know, João Felix has gone in. João Cancelo's gone in. I think he'll play more. A lot of comments for Robert Lewandowski about the style of Barca and his teammates and arguably his coach and the league and the referees and everybody. So neither of those sides have played, and they struggled, by the way, at the weekend against Osasuna to get a victory. So, yeah, nobody really outside Man City, who won last year, has stuck their hands up so far and gone, yeah, we're definitely stronger and we can take City on.
So if the second favourites in the Champions League, it probably will come as very little surprise that they are big favourites to win the Bundesliga again this year. Just taking a look at the title odds, because we have a great game to welcome us back to league action. When the Bundesliga does return, it's Bayer Leverkusen, the only other perfect side in the Bundesliga so far. Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. Are they going to be their closest title challenger this year, Jan?
They are now, because if you look at Dortmund, who were maybe the favourite to be the challenger, if you say it that way, they've been terrible. Terrible. I mean, no moral, no culture. It's just sad. And there is no winning DNA. And they try to say that they're so happy they lost Haaland. No, they're also happy that they lost Bellingham. But apparently Bellingham didn't have the right attitude for them. I guess that means that he was a winner, which is showing now at the moment. There are all small details coming out of there. He has taken the Bundesliga exactly what they wanted. They needed experience. And just to mix that up, you have Florian Wirtz. So a long answer to your quick question, Kay. Yes, at the moment it's Leverkusen. And the next game, as you're saying, Bayern against Bayer. What a game that's going to be.
It's a great short window for Xabi Alonso, isn't it? Because his name was sort of thrown in the mix for the Real Madrid job. It wasn't foremost at the forefront, but it was kind of hovering around down a little bit in the betting stakes. But his name was certainly in there, with not really a lot of experience at the time. I'm thinking maybe 6 months to a year ago. But the job that he's done since he's gone in there as well has been absolutely incredible. And I'm sure it hasn't gone unnoticed. You know, Ancelotti's got this season and he's hot-footing it to Brazil to take the national team with his son. So that job's going to be available. And Xabi Alonso at the moment is certainly not doing himself any harm whatsoever.
No, he's not. He has extended his contract, but they mean nothing, do they? They mean
contracts.
absolutely nothing at the moment. But he is doing a fine job so far at Bayer Leverkusen, and you can see just how fine they are looking. They did beat them last time they faced them at the Bayer Arena last season. That game will be coming up on Friday when the Bundesliga does return, and all of the games you will be able to catch, as always, on ESPN Plus, and see a lot more of Harry Kane.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.